What's good, Wizards fans? It's your host, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Today, we're going to do a couple of mailbag questions. We're going to talk about the Wizards losing their national TV game. What is their ceiling for the rest of the season? And more. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. All right, so the news today, the Wizards lost their one national television game other than the NBA TV games. I don't really consider those national TV games, but TNT is a national TV game. Against the Hawks that was supposed to be on February 28th. They have the NBA has decided to take the Wizards off of TNT, and now the game will be on NBC Sports Washington. What are your thoughts about that? How is that disrespectful to you, or do you understand the NBA making that move?
I mean, as a fan, you want to say it's disrespectful, but then it's just a testament to how the league views this franchise. You know, I hate that, say small market, because we're really not a small market. If you look at the area that this team services, man, the tri-state area, the DMV, it's not a small market, but we are viewed as a small market team, and it shows one televised game, and we can't even get that. So, yeah, it's as a fan, I feel disrespected, but then it's like this is just how the league views us, and so it is what it is. They don't look at us as a major market. And I think that's something that management has to look at because, like I just said, look how big of the DC metropolitan area is. The closest NBA team north is Philly, and south you're looking at Charlotte. So, you have a big opportunity here to really, really, energize this area. So, I think it shows a lot about how the NBA views this franchise.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you said, as a fan, I feel disrespected. The Wizards have been playing good ball as of late, but in the grand scheme of things, they're the ninth seed. The Hawks are the eighth seed. They just fired their coach named McMillan, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. But yeah, they're two middle tier teams. They're not elite teams. I know, I get it. The Lakers on national TV all the time, and they're with the 12th seed or something like that. We've heard Shaq make jokes and say, or really not make, or Charles Barkley say that he doesn't want to watch the Lakers anymore. So I know they don't want to watch the Wizards. And I remember Charles Barkley said himself, he was like, why are we talking about the 12th seed in the West, the Lakers? We don't talk about the 12th seed in the East at the time, but now we're the 9th seed. So you can put a little bit of respect on the Wizards' name. But I get it. I don't know what game they're going to replace it with, but I get it from a national TV perspective. You don't really want to watch the 8th seed and the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference as a national TV matchup. So I get it from that standpoint. And the Wizards don't have any All-Stars. I know the Hawks, they usually have Trae Young, and I know DeJounte Murray, he didn't make it this year. I'm not sure if Trae Young, I think Trae Young made. I didn't even watch the All-Star game because I fell asleep. But
I think he was a snub.
Okay, yeah, he might have been snubbed, and he had the problems off the court and missed a game or something like that because some personal reasons and stuff, and I get maybe some teammate stuff or coaching stuff. But yeah, it is somewhat of a slap in the face, but I get why, because we don't have any All-Stars on the roster. Like you said, we have been somewhat of a small market, and we're a ninth seed. We're just a middling team right now, but they are playing better ball as of late. But yeah, unless they put on like the Warriors or the Celtics or the Bucks or a championship contender, I totally get it. So it just shows where the Wizards are right now. To the national media and the national perspective, people they're slept on the Wizards. They sleep, and I can't blame them for doing that because they haven't. Even you can talk about the Wizards historically, we haven't made it past the second round of 1979 since 1979. So we can go back that far, but I get other teams are on TNT. Other lesser teams have been on TNT that haven't made the playoffs before. So they got to earn it. They got to put some respect on their name, and maybe they can earn. If they make the playoffs, then yes, they will be on TNT. So we'll look at it that way. Let's make the playoffs, and then you can get on TNT. So we'll earn it that way.
Well, I don't think it's entirely on the national media, man. I'm gonna say why. You kind of project who you are. This management, and really going all the way back to '78, we project a small market team. We have a small market kind of mind frame. Think about it like this. I was a big fan of Gilbert Arenas, Antoine Jameson, their big three. I don't, the term big three. I get it. They were all stars, but they never made it past second round. And stuff like that kind of has that small market mind frame. It's like we're celebrating an era that didn't make it past second round. Whereas, you look at other franchises, man, and you pointed out the Lakers. I get it, man. I am so sick and tired of seeing the Lakers. I'm tired of them, man. But we know what it is. You look, certain franchises, man, the Lakers, the Celtics, they're always going to be box office, going way back, And then if you look at now, Golden State, with their dynasty, so I get it. But it's just I think the blueprint, we said it time and time again, I think the blueprint is Cleveland. Look, Cleveland was afterthought for a long time, until Mr. LeBron James came to Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland was afterthought. I mean, and even after LeBron, with them building this team back up, now you're starting to see them in games. So, small market teams can really kind of force their way into the national spotlight. Cleveland did it, so I think they're the blueprint, because let's be real, a lot of people, if not anybody, wants to come to DC as a free agent. Drafting's been an issue. And so acquiring players, it has to be through trade. So, we've got to project where we want to be, man. If we want this to be a hub where players want to come, we've got to build it up to be that way. So, I mean, like I said, it's indicative of how the NBA views our market and then our franchise. So, I think that the power's in our hands as a franchise, man. We got to really up the game with our franchise because it's disrespectful, man. One game. I mean, come on, man. One game. So, yeah.
You take it away from us.
And you take it away from us. So, yeah, it just shows how they view us, man. So it's sad, man. But look, these certain teams, they sell. More people are trying to watch the Lakers. More people are trying to watch Golden State. A lot of people, especially on national televised games, they're not going to tune in to watch us play. And as much as it hurts to say that, truth hurts, man. A lot of people aren't clamoring to watch the Hawks and the Wizards play. So I get it from business standpoint. So.
Yeah, and you look at our attendance too. We're bottom 10 in attendance. So you look at the fan base right now, and that just tells the temperature of the room, the temperature of the fan base right now. The Wizards have good players. Chris Epps is a great player. Bradley Beal's a great player. Kuzma's a great player. But yeah, they're just not pulling attendance right now. Now, when we have a winning culture like John Wall, you remember John Wall, Markieff, Gortat, Brad, Otto, that team, they had a lot of national televised games. They're winning games. They won 49 games. They won 47 games. So they earned that. So for the Wizards to get back to that, yeah, they're going to have to get back in that, 45, 46, 47 win column. And they don't really have much of a chance to get to 45, but they can make, like I said, the only way they're going to make it is by making the playoffs, by making it on national TV. But kind of with the Commanders, like Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, I stopped caring about that because they kept getting blown out on Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football. Now they've actually been doing pretty good. They beat the Eagles on Monday Night Football. They beat the Bears on Thursday Night Football. I just stopped caring about it. I couldn't care less. I actually didn't want them to play on national TV. But now I'm happy when they do. But what I'm getting at is the Commanders got to earn national TV games, and the Wizards they got to earn national TV games, and they got to earn the fan base respect too. Because like I said, they're bottom 10 in attendance, so that kind of tells you where they're at overall as far as a media perspective.
Yeah, but you hit the perfect comment, man. The fan base. How's a fan base supposed to feel, man? Like, we were talking about before the show, man. The comments made by Bradley Beal, and it just seems to me, man, like we're confused. Like, how do you want the fan base to feel? One hand, it's just like you get a different message every 5 minutes. Looking at the comments made by Bradley Beal, which if you haven't heard, Bradley Beal made comments that were kind of very similar to before the year, saying that he wants to be here, but he's only willing to wait so long. But you signed a contract. Like, nobody forced you to sign a contract. And then knowing so, you knew that contract was going to make it hard to build around. Now, Tommy Shepard, to his credit, has done a good job with the little bit of cap space he has to, bring in KP, bringing in Kuz. I know he came in with, other players, but kind of finding Kuz as that guy out of the Lakers trade package to be a guy to kind of build around. He's been methodical when it comes to his trade game. Now, drafting is a whole nother conversation, man. But, he's done. I mean, it's not going to get easy, man. You have a franchise guy that we all know is not a top tier guy who tells us he wants to win a championship, and then turn around and is like, "Well, I'm only going to wait so long." It's year one of the extension. Like, I mean, people are confused, man, and that has a lot to do with low attendance, man, because nobody knows what the vision is, man. Nobody knows what the vision is. You want to go forward with this solid three, and I get that, man. You refuse to rebuild. I get that. I don't get it, but it is what it is. But then, if you look at the salary cap, right, and we're going to touch base about it a lot more tomorrow, but we're not going to be able to afford the solid three with Gafford, with the 2 point guards. I mean, what are we talking about here, man? Like, we're confused. Or we're going to roll forward with the solid three. You can't afford it, man. You can't afford it. And then Bradley Beal's like, homie, look, man, poop and get off the pot. You want to be here? Stay. If not, I'm sure Tommy can find a way to expedite your way out of DC, man. It's not, nobody's holding him hostage. He's holding us hostage. Your contract holds his team hostage. So either want to be here and compete or try to compete, or look, there's other teams who can use your services, man. But look, let us go, man. I'm so tired of this whole, I don't know if I'm gonna be here. I want to be here. I don't want to be here. Just make your mind up, man. It's like Bradley Beal, let my people go. Like, let us go. Like, I'm tired of it, man. It's just, and the timing is so bad, man. Right before the second half of the year, so I think that has a lot to do with attendance, man. Because you pointed it out, John Wall era. We knew where this team was going, right? John Wall at the time in his prime was an electrifying franchise player. You had second in command, 2IC, man, Bradley Beal, spot up guy. You had everybody who had a role. We knew where this team was going. You had Kelly Oubre, we drafted. He was developing into a 3D guy. Markieff Morris with the attitude. Gord Todd. I mean, you had a perfect team that everybody knew the role. And as a fan base, you can look back and say, look, I know where we're going. Now, nobody knows where we're going because you refuse to rebuild, but then you refuse to really be honest with the situation that we're in, man. Is that you're not going to be able to keep everybody, man. You're going to have to subtract, and you can't keep pitching this fairy tale, storyline to the fan base. Like, oh no, we're really trying. It's like, no, you're not, brother. So, so I get it, man. The tennis is just indicative of where this franchise is at. People aren't going to pay for mediocrity, man. And I think this fan base, look, 1978. Neither one of us were even breathing the last time this franchise was trying to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are so overdue for a contender, man. Nationals, 2019 got a title. The Capitals got a title. The Mystics got a title. I'm just saying, man, we are overdue. So I think the fan base, we are owed a lot more than what we're getting right now, man.
Definitely 100%. I mean, you hit the nail on the head on everything. You really did. I do wish Brad would have said those comments after the season was done, because they're going on a run right now. They're playing their best ball right now. They're playing their best ball right now. The 5-game winning streak, and then the last 2 games, coming off the Minnesota win. They should be on a positive note. But Brad just does these interviews all the time, and we'll talk a little bit about it more tomorrow. So we're gonna get into a mailbag question. We'll probably wrap it up tonight. We'll do one more mailbag question on Thursday, and then preview the next game for Friday. But before we do get to that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the midway point of the NBA season. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet does not win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. Tonight, I'm looking at some college games. There's no NBA games, of course. I've been doing some live betting lately. I'm looking at the Maryland game right now. If you want to do some spread betting, they're up 70 to 52. So if the spread is like 18.5, I would definitely take that for sure. I think Maryland definitely can finish the spread. I think they can beat Minnesota by 50 points. There's 10 minutes left in the game right now. If you're probably going to be listening tomorrow morning, but if you're listening live on YouTube, then I would take that bet for sure. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, so somebody asked on YouTube, it was Brick to Buildings 1145. He says, who do you guys think is our most valuable role player is that other teams may want?
Man, we were talking about this, man, and you bring up a good point, but I gotta say Denny Avia, man, because he's got the highest ceiling to me on the second unit. Now, DeLon, look, taking nothing away from DeLon Wright, but he's a vet. He's been in the league a while. He knows what his role is, where his career is at now. Looking at Denny with his age and his ceiling, man, if he can find a consistent 3-point shot, he could be a really, really good player, man. He could be a starter somewhere, man, if not here, somewhere else. But, it's just a shot. I think that's the biggest disappointment with him was, working out with Drew Hanlon and not really responding to it, the training and the shot not being there. But, he is starting to drive the lane with confidence, with some dog in him, the defense, the vision, I'm not a big fan of the Rui trade. We both said it, but, I get it. But he has been given an opportunity to showcase where he's at, what he can do. And like I said, even with the 3-point shot, they're starting to drop. He's starting to let him go with a lot more confidence now. He's not hesitant. Because if you look at him last year in the first couple of years, man, he was very, very hesitant to shoot the ball. Now he's letting it rip. So I'm going to say Denny Avia, man. I think that teams are looking at him as, he's a 3-point shot away from being a really, really good basketball player in this league.
Yeah, that's a good one. Denny right now, he's averaging 9 points a game. 3 fouls a game, 0.5 blocks, 0.9 steals, 6.3 rebounds per game. He's really he's averaging a career high in rebounds a game. He did have that 20 rebound game. He's had a couple of double-doubles this year so far as well. 75% from the free throw line, shooting 2 free throws a game. That's a career high for him in that. 3-point percentage, he's shooting 29% from 3. So he's actually shooting a career low in 3-point percentage. So his 3-point percentage has gone down this year. But when he had the turbo run, he was shooting the ball well from the 3-point line. Had a 25-point game. Played really, really. He was playing really well. The probably the best offensive games of his career that he played. But for me, it's DeLon Wright. I just think just how much of a pest he is on defense. The steals, the deflections. He's just getting on the ball for loose basketballs. Just being a pest. And being our best on-ball defender, really, our best guard defender from the point of attack, man. He's just as quick as a cat. Great precision. He just sees things before they happen. Great. Trying to find the word for it. It's just great. Just great defensive intelligence. Just great defensive intelligence. Like he can predict where the ball is going. He just has a great knack. The steal against the Mavericks, that was huge. Against Luka Doncic, that was just a huge steal to win the game. Still against the Timberwolves too. I mean, he has some big plays in that game too. So he just impacts the game so well without even scoring. There's some games where he hasn't shot the ball well, but he still impacted the game in different ways. But I think trade value, I probably agree with you with Denny because he's young. He's on a rookie contract, but DeLon right now, he's not getting paid much either. He's on a good contract too. So I think a lot of playoff teams would like DeLon Wright to come off the bench and give them a good defensive punch for sure. So I'm going to go with DeLon Wright on this one.
Man, that's a good one too, though. I mean, I can roll with DeLon, man. Another name I'm gonna bring up, Corey Kispert, man. I know his defense is not where you want it to be, but his IQ, his instincts, his ability to cut the basket, his shot, he can add value to a team too. So, looking from a trade, standpoint, I think those two guys, because of their age, would be the.
Yeah, so Corey Kispert, I'll piggyback on Corey Kispert as well. I'm gonna bring up his numbers because Brandon brought up Corey Kispert. I think that's a good. He's having a solid year this year. He's been a little inconsistent defensively. Of course, he gets picked on a little bit, but just looking at his stats here, he's averaging 9 points a game, 2.7 boards, almost 3 boards a game. In his second season, he's shooting 41% from the 3-point line. Shooting 5 threes a game. So he's really improved from the 3-point line. And he was big in that Minnesota win. That was a big stretch for Corey Kispert to win us that game. He's shooting 60% from 2. From the free throw line, he's shooting 86% as well, averaging 9 points a game. He's not going to block a lot of shots, but 1.2 assists and 2.7 boards a game. So Corey Kispert has had a solid season this year. Just defensively, he gets picked on, but he's a great cutter, great finisher around the rim. He can finish above the rim. He is athletic, and I like what he does. I think he's a solid playmaker at times too. So we drafted him to be the best shooter in the draft. Defense is not his calling card. We didn't draft him to lock down on the defensive side of the ball, but I do think Corey Kispert has done a good job of being a knockdown shooter. At times, like I said, there has been some inconsistencies, but he's shooting about 5 threes per game. He's shooting 41% from the three, where last year he was shooting 35% from the three-point line. So cutting to the basket, moving without the basketball, off-ball cutter, he's excellent at that. He's really, really good. His underrated skill really is finishing at the rim, finishing with both hands as well. I think he's definitely ambidextrous finishing around the rim. So we're going to wrap it up tonight here. Brandon will be back tomorrow. Of course, we're going to preview the next game and answer some more mailbag questions. But before we do wrap it up, make sure you guys check out the Game podcast. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. Now make your second listen Game to Game. Every moment, every top performance, every result. Locked On Game to Game covers every game across with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. Oh, Brandon, did you want to wrap up with Corey Kispert?
Man, for some reason, man, my camera wanted to reset, and I was like, so definitely my bad, y'all. But nah, man, you hit the nail on the head, man. Real quick on Kispert. Like I said, just from age, him and Denny. But man, look, Denny or DeLon, man, yeah, he's that guy. So definitely appreciate y'all tonight, man. Y'all definitely have a blessed night. So.